Before there was a Scotland, there was a dream carried on the tide. They called themselves the Scoti, wanderers, exiles, a people bound by faith and fire. Some said they were born of Scota, daughter of a Pharaoh of Egypt, who fled across the seas with her kin after the fall of great kingdoms. Others told that they were the children of Milesius, a noble of ancient Iberia, whose sons crossed the western ocean to Ireland, the green cradle of the Gaels. From there, their story begins to breathe. For centuries, they grew strong among the hills and glens of Hibernia. Ireland, a land of poets and warriors, of clans and kings. But as the generations passed, the restless heart of the Scoti beat again. They gazed east across the narrow sea, across the strait where the mists met the mountains of another world. That world was Alba. Around the 5th century of our era, ships of timber and hides slipped from the shores of Antrim, bearing families, cattle, monks, and chieftains. They crossed the North Channel, landing among the sea locks of Argyll. This was the birth of Dl Riata, a Gaelic kingdom in the west of what we now call Scotland. The settlers brought their language, Gaelic, and their faith, the old Celtic Christianity that saw divinity in both heaven and hill. They built forts on the ridges, Dunnard, Dunseveric, Dunlee, names that still echo with their story. But they were not alone in Alba. To the north and east lived the Picts, the painted people, mysterious, ancient, their lineage stretching back to the Iron Age tribes of Caledonia. The Picts were master carvers, etching stones with beasts and symbols that still defy full translation. They lived in a world of hillforts and sacred rivers, where kings were chosen by strange and ancient rites. For generations, the Scoti of Dl Riata and the Picts existed as uneasy neighbors, sometimes allies, sometimes rivals. The sea, not the land, was their road, and through it, trade, war, and faith moved like a current. Into this world came Saint Columba, an Irish monk of noble blood, who left his homeland in penance and purpose. In 563 AD, he landed on the Isle of Iona, a small, wind-bitten rock that would become a beacon of light in the Dark Ages. From there, Columbus spread his faith to the Picts, converting kings and kindling a spiritual bond between the two peoples. Iona's monks recorded history, copied scriptures, and kept alive the memory of those who came before. They turned legend into lineage and gave form to a nation's soul. By the 9th century, the kingdoms of the north faced a new terror, the Vikings. Long ships burned along the coasts, monasteries were raided, and kings fell one by one. Out of this chaos rose a figure half-shrouded in mystery, Kenneth mac Alpin, Synod mac Alpin, King of the Scots. Some say he conquered the Picts through treachery. Others claim he inherited both thrones through blood. Either way, he became the first to unite Pictland and Dl Riata under one crown. He called his new realm Alba. Here, for the first time, the word Scotia, once used for Ireland, began to drift north, to this new kingdom of the Gaels and Picts, the land of the Scots. The centuries that followed saw Alba evolve into Scotland. The Gaelic tongue spread eastward, mingling with the native Pictish, and later with Norse and Saxon speech. The Church of St. Columba gave birth to monasteries and schools that preserved learning through Europe's darkest centuries. Clans grew, kings rose and fell, but the identity of the Scots, a people forged from migration, myth, and memory, endured. The word Scot no longer meant the wanderer from Ireland. It meant the people of this new northern land, the people of Alba, of the glens and the highlands, of the heather and the sea. So the story of Scotland begins not with a single tribe or battle, but with a journey from the myths of Egypt and Iberia, through the hills of Ireland, across the grey sea to Alba, from the Picts' carved stones to the Gaels' sacred songs. What began as legend became history. What began as exile became home. And from that long voyage across the mist, Scotland was born.